I'm sitting here at the console of the Nicholson and Lord organ of Castle Hill Baptist Church. The organ was built in 1888 for the Presbyterian Church at Glebe, and it stayed there until 1969 when it was moved to this church. Subsequently, work was done on the organ by organ builder Arthur Lord, who made a number of additions to the organ and various tonal alterations. At that particular period of time, Victorian organs were out of fashion, and the fashion was to try to convert these organs into Baroque instruments. It was about as successful as trying to convert a Victorian terrace by putting aluminium windows on it and covering it with fibro. It didn't work particularly well for the most part, and the church here found that it didn't work particularly well for it. The result of that was in 2014 a project started to restore the instrument, or at least to partially restore the instrument to what it had originally been. That basically involved undoing most of the alterations that had been made and getting it back to what it originally was. But it was only a partial restoration. So what we now have is an 1888 instrument that somebody has tried to update with the updates largely reversed. So let's try now to hear what the result of all of that is. And the best place to start is on the great organ, the lower manual, and we'll start by going through the diapason chorus. Now, the first stop we'll hear is the open diapason, which sounds like this. Stop diapason, 8 foot. Principal 4 foot. Fifteenth 2 foot. Now, of course, played at that pitch, they all sound a bit different. But let's play them at the same pitch. Open diapason. Stop diapason. Principal. 15th. And let's just listen to that again. 15th. Principal. Very hard to find a difference. The open diapason, it's louder. The stop diapason, which to me sounds more like a flute. So initially, what you hear is a number of stops that largely sound the same, except for the stop diapason, which to me, as I said, sounds more like a flute. Here is the flute stop, the Wald flute. And let's hear the stop diapason again. Very similar. Now, the only other stop that's on the grate is a standard mixture, which sounds like a standard mixture. So, of course, when you put the diapason chorus together plus a mixture, quite a rich sound, not a great deal of variety perhaps. Let's go to the swell. The swell has a 16-foot board on, which is rather useful, but very soft. And while we're on this sort of stop, let's go to the viol d'amore. Okay. Diapason chorus, I should have started with that. Open diapason. Principal. let's go back to the open diapason. And let's go to the 2 foot 15th. Once again, diapason chorus, pretty much all exactly the same except for volume levels. As well as that, there's a gedact. And I think if you play the bourdon, you'll find it's basically identical to the gedact. You then have a sesquialtera, which again sounds like a sesquialtera. A mixture stop will sound. Now, when you put it all together, without the gedact, and it's actually quite rich. Whoops. There's also a cornopian, which is pretty much out of tune, but certainly gives you some character. Let's go to the pedal division, where originally there was simply a 16-foot bourdon stop, and it's still here. Very soft bourdon. Now, when Arthur Jones attacked the organ in the 70s, what he did is he increased the pedal division from 1 stop to 7 stops. He added a sub-bass, which is a bourdon-like stop. He also added a passawn, and from the existing stops, he derived an 8-foot principal, a 4-foot principal, a 2-foot principal, and a 4-foot flute. So we had 7 stops on the pedal. The main stop that has remained here now is a passawn that Jones introduced. I don't think I need to say much except to play a little bit. The question could be asked what it's doing on a Victorian organ. Somebody asked me what use I would make of the passawn when I was playing music on this organ. My answer was none at all. I don't think it really serves any purpose. So that's basically what the organ does. The individual recordings will show you a little bit more. It's a large enough instrument for a church. It's quite a reasonable size. I think we have a voicing issue, and I really don't know what happened to the organ after the partial restoration in 2014-15. But to me, there is such a lot of potential here, and it does make a very big sound, but there are a few drawbacks. The drawbacks are basically that the diapason chorus on the swell and the diapason chorus on the great seem to almost be derivations of the same stop. They're not, but they seem to be voiced almost identically, apart from the stopped diapason on the great. The bourdon has so little power that it doesn't supply a great deal of bass, and yet the bourdon pipes are enormous, enormous wooden pipes, and the passawn doesn't really serve a purpose. So I think what we have here is a really great instrument, potential-wise, that needs some expert work to make it realise its full potential. It's quite fun to play, but it doesn't have the variety that I would have expected.